again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Morty and Glory video. In today's episode, I want to ask and attempt to answer one simple question. Does quantity truly have a quality of its own? Can we win games? Can we be competitive by just spamming the crappiest units in our army? Now, bear with me for a second, because that might sound like an obvious hard no. I mean, if they're crappy units, surely they don't work, right? But hear me out. With the recent balance patch, the September one, a lot of guard points went down. Let's not talk about the artillery section. That's dead on arrival now. But let's just focus on other areas, such as our infantry and our tanks. We had things like the Rogal Dawn, which is a very good tank, come down from 285 down to 260. That's pretty decent. A lot of our super heavies came below the 500 mark. Fantastic. But for me, what really caught my eye was how cheap our infantry became. With units like Kashtan Jungle Fighters coming down 20 points from 130 to 110. And you're still getting 4 flamers in there as well. And our Lehman Russes getting huge points cuts. You had some Lehman Russ variants that went down as much as 35 points, which makes them eminently more spammable. And it got me thinking, surely you could look at this, you could look at it in one way, and you could be like, okay, well now the list I was already building has saved 100 points, that allows me to fit an extra unit. Okay, sure, that's how you could look at this. But what about if we build it from the ground up? What about if we look at this purely from taking the cheaper stuff? And can we actually build a viable list? Does this actually work? So from the infantry point of view, like I said, we want to be looking at those Catachans and stuff like that. But then I started looking at the vehicles, at the tanks. And I realized that you can now get a Lehman Russ for 155 points. That's with all the sponsors, all the gear. Now, to be fair, it is a Lehman Russ Vanquisher. And I recently did a video on Lehman Russes and which ones were good and which ones were bad. And I ranked the Vanquisher as the worst Lehman Russ. And I think in a normal guard army, when you're taking a bit of a hybrid force, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, it probably is a terrible choice. So it's not, in fact, it's not probably, definitely not something you want to be considering. But if we're looking at this through the lens of the Red Army, of the Soviet hordes, of just taking as much stuff as possible, if we're just invoking that mantra of quantity has a quality of its own, throw enough shit at a wall and it sticks, then 155 points is amazing. Because what it means is you don't care about the main turret. I don't care if the main turret's poo. What I'm actually taking at that point is just a brick of armor. And 155 points for a Russ chassis is very interesting. Because you still got that T11. You still got that 2+8. You still got those 13 wounds. Anything other than a las cannon is going to really struggle to deal with you. It's going to take proper AT to cut through you. And even if you don't consider the Vanquisher cannon, you just say, you know what, I'm not even taking that into account as a weapon. You're still getting a las cannon on the front, 2 multi-melters or 2 plasma cannons on the side, a heavy stubber and a hunter killer missile. And you actually do have a Vanquisher cannon as well. So the supplementary firepower plus the defensive profile makes that 155 points a good investment. The Vanquisher cannon's the afterthought. It just happens to be there, and if it kills something great, it's still, you know, some sort of anti-tank that you're adding into your own list, right? But just the volume of extra DACA you're getting from sponsors and stuff, that's actually awesome. And the durability you're getting, that's really significant. Because you can just chuck 3 of these things in your list now, and it doesn't even cost you 500 points. It doesn't even cost you 25% of your army. And you've got 3 main battle tanks. There are other armies out there that would kill to have that. But why stop at the Vanquisher? There are other vehicles that are pretty cheap as well. What about the Eradicator? It comes with the Nova Cannon, which is actually a decent weapon. It's the poor man's demolisher. It's strength 7, 8 mass 1, 2 damage, D6 plus 3 shots. That's really quite solid for just clearing away infantry. And it's got blast as well. And then you still have the lance cannon and the multi-melter and the stuff and the hunter killer missile. You could take 2 or 3 of those things as well. And it's just like, I'm just here sort of scratching my head, just thinking to myself, like, hang on. You're telling me I could take 5 Lehman Russes in my army and I'm barely breaking 1,000 points. Like, barely. I'm not even close to breaking 1,000 points. Like 800 points. That's wild. I could add a tank commander in there with Grand Strategist as well. He can order 2 of those tanks around. So now I'm looking at 6 Lehman Russes for about 1,000 points. That is so much heavy armor saturation. And don't get it twisted, the Lehman Russ is still a heavy tank. I know some people disagree with me on this and they think it's a medium vehicle, but to me, medium vehicles are things like Predators and Rhinos and anything that's like T10 and below. That's a medium vehicle. A heavy vehicle is something that's going to require more than a bloody autocannon to bring it down. It's going to require something that's got not just firepower but also durability. And Russes are durable. Got 13 wounds. They're durable. Always takes a little bit more to clear Rust than you expect. And 6 of them. You could lose 2 of them turn 1 to an enemy alpha strike and you're still starting with more or the same amount of Lehman Russes as most other hybrid guard players would be. Because a lot of guard players turn up with 3 to 4 bits of armor. You're bringing 6, all Russ. Quantity has a quality of its own. That's potentially 12 plasma cannons, 12 multi-melters. That's 6 lance cannons, 6 hunter killers. All of that DACA from the turrets as well. And then we back that up. I'm like, okay, well, we've got our armor now. What goes with the armor? We need some infantry. Okay, well, what's the sort of average amount of infantry you see in a guard list? Well, it's between 60 and 80 infantry. Okay, well, what if we went for 100? What if we went for 100 Katachan jungle fighters? That's 660 points right there. All flamers. All can be reinforcements. If I lose a Katachan blob a turn, I'm actually going to spend my 2 CP to bring them back with reinforcements. Okay, so actually I'm not bringing 100 Katachans to the field. I'm bringing 200 if I lose a blob a turn. I can recycle 1 every time. That's a lot of infantry. It's more than enough infantry. Sure, I'm not as durable as Krieg. Sure, I haven't got the feel no pain, but a Krieg blob with a Marshal is going to cost me 190 points. A Katachan blob just running around, doing its thing, is going to cost me 110. You could chuck Strachan in there. There's 2 orders for him. Straight off the bat. And then, well, we're taking all this armor. We can then add in some of the stuff that really acts as like force multipliers. You chuck in a Supreme Command blob, you know, Lord Sol Leontus joins one of those Katachan units, Platoon Command Squad joins one of those Katachan units. Suddenly you're doing 5 more orders there. You've got another order for your Katachans from the Command Squad. So now you're looking at 3 orders for them running around, and the Lord Solar can order 3 tanks, plus the tank commander who mentioned before, he can order 2 tanks. So that's 5 tanks sorted. Your infantry has got probably just enough orders to work, but the beauty of Katachans is they don't need orders because they've got scout move, which can make up for move, and they've also got flamers, which don't need any bonuses to hit, right? And if you want to just sprinkle the final bit on, season the list with the last thing that makes Guard great, which is indirect fire, mortars. Everyone's lamenting the loss of the Earthshaker batteries and the Medusa batteries. But to me, this just brings back into sharp focus the mortar pit. When did taking 3 squads of mortars become bad? They've only got better from 9th to 10th. They all have blast. They all get, each individual mortar in the squad gets the bonus shots. They're still strength 5. They're hitting basically the same as they ever were from 9th edition. If you somehow manage to rearrange your points a little bit, you can squeeze in some sentinels. You can probably make them hit even better than they were in 9th edition. Your Katachans don't need the orders that we're talking about, so you can use your infantry orders to boost the mortars up. and you can just pound people with 9d6 plus blast shots. Sure, that's not going to pick up any vehicles or anything, but don't forget they stay still. Born Soldiers, 6's auto wound. That sweet, sweet Born Soldiers is back again. It's like reliving 9th edition. And there's still going to be more than enough to be able to pick up a little 5-man squad that's sitting on a backfield objective, which is all they were ever really for anyway. And if we are entering into a more of a horde meta, I keep hearing people talking about Tyranids swarms being sort of viable, at least something that people like to bring. And hey, I've been using my pure infantry guard recently, and that's been doing really well. So having more anti-infantry, that's not a bad thing. But just if we add all this up together for a moment, guys, I know this is a little bit of a rambly video, but I'm very much just sort of throwing this out there, stream of consciousness, and I want you guys to sort of just give me your like hot takes, your first impressions back at me. And it's like, if we add all of this together, what we're bringing to the table is 3 units of indirect fire, 6 units of heavy armor, and 100 infantry. We've got enough orders where at any point we can support at least 2/3 of our list, which is what we want to be doing with orders. If you take an order for every unit, you end up having units dying, not coming back, and then you've got spare orders floating around not doing anything. So we've got the right amount of order support. We've got, I'd say, 20% more infantry than we're normally fielding. We've got 33% more armor than we're normally fielding, and we're running the same amount of indirect fire that we need. We've literally got massive amounts more men and material into our list. And I think if we just roll enough dice, do we end up overwhelming the game? Does it work? I don't know. But on paper, at least, it seems viable. For me, the strongest part of this definitely seems the tank. As an infantry commander, I can tell you that those catachans are going to get swept aside pretty quickly. And you do have to take into account missions. We haven't got any scions in here. I could be potentially persuaded to drop one tank. I think maybe 6 thrusters is excessive. Even if it is the strongest bit, 6 thrusters is excessive. You could drop one of those, chuck in like 3 units of scions. That would help do the objective side of things. There's lots of refining that could be done here, and I'm very open to your guys' suggestions. Like, how would you build this quantity as a quality of its own list? How would you just build this spamming of crap units? But I can't help but think that 5-6 Leman Russes just trundling forward, that is going to be such armor saturation. And 100 infantry, which you're able to bring back 20 a turn, that's such infantry saturation. And over the course of 5 turns, those 3 mortar squads are going to get the job done. They're going to pick up 1 or 2 of those little 5-man objective holding units that, when you do that, completely throws a spanner in your opponent's works. And for every squad that your opponent kills, if you go 1 for 1, like trading units 1 for 1 with your opponent, you're going to outlast them. You're going to beat them. I think it's got potential. I think it needs battlefield play, but I think it's got potential. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Could this work? Is this a new way of playing guard in 10th edition? Moving away from the Krieg and the quality and moving towards the spam? Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and of course subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian Glory Hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members, and Patreons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordy and Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last, but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the Call of Duty. So a massive thank you to Bon Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, August Vardy, and the Tommies. Thank you guys. Your incredible support makes a huge difference, and it is a big part of how I'm able to do Mordy and Glory full time. But that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.